What up? What up? Welcome to the conversation. Now joining the conversation. If it's your first time here, go ahead and hit the subscribe, hit that notification. Let us know that you've been here. Jump in the comments and get in the conversation. You engage. Been here before and you're back. Welcome. We're glad to have you back. Without further ado, bring it to the stage. I know who it is. It's Coach Ro. What's up, Coach?
Good morning, everybody.
Top
on this fine Thursday. Yeah.
Oh, it's a fine Thursday.
It's a fine Thursday. So the showdown.
So, we got a week. From today. We got a week from today, everybody. To this SC LSU showdown.
Yes.
And just want to make sure we give proper time to really debate and talk about and have a real conversation about what we expect to see happen on January 25th. Especially after what we saw happen this weekend, if you will, right? Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. Let's take a deep dive in that. I mean, we talked a little bit about Van Lith and what we saw out of LSU on the live, but for the people who maybe haven't seen the live, Coach Ro, why don't you go ahead and recap what we saw there?
So there were some items that stood out to us during that LSU Auburn game, and what stood out was the difficulty that LSU faced in setting up their offense. And one of their guards specifically that stood out, again, we're not picking on this young lady, but Van Lith was clearly a liability during that game. I believe she took had 3 points or something like that, maybe took 1 3-point shot. Her stats were very bad. But more importantly, regardless of that, like here's the one thing about joining the conversation. We're not stat stuffing supporters like that to say, oh yeah, you need to load the stats. We pay attention to individuals that control the flow of the game, that are coaches on the floor. We pay attention to stuff like that. And Van Lith seems like her strength is adding some chemistry to the defense and more so being a general on the floor as far as orchestrating how they get into their offense. She was not able to do that versus Auburn. They gave her some heavy pressure, and she turned the ball over several times. But here's the thing that really stood out. There was no resistance on the defensive end. Those guards were able to go downhill all game. And I even said, respectfully to Auburn, a lot of those drives to the basket, they may have gone with their eyes closed, but they knew that they were going to get fouled by the guards. The other thing that stood out to me was that LSU looked tired. They looked tired midway through the third quarter. They also, the very, you all may have seen the clip. I'm still scratching my head. I've looked at it a few times. I'm trying to figure out why was Angel Reese at the top of the key at the end of the game, dribbling between her legs, sizing up her opponent to go to the rim and score. And to me, that was just a recipe for disaster, and it was. Someone took the ball from her, and that was pretty much the end of the game. So what we saw were two of the greatest weaknesses of LSU are, I'm not going to say unfortunately, ironically, the strength of South Carolina. South Carolina pressures the ball. South Carolina has superior guard play. And South Carolina does not seem to be fatigued in any point of any of their games because they use so many players that step in and play. So that's what we saw from that game. And again, that's what we saw. I don't know if but we both agreed that the records are 0-0 come next week. That means nothing. I think that both teams are going to get up for this game. I think that South Carolina's tired of hearing about the defending champs. Carolina's saying, oh yeah, this is the one we've been waiting on. And I know LSU has been paying attention to South Carolina beating their opponents. Pretty much as our subscribers reminded us
And
all but 3 games.
I must be LSU coming in feeling like they have something to prove because they took that loss
Right.
on February 12th. So please, LSU will be feeling like, hey, they owe us something because they took that 88-64 loss, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So here's my there's one name, regardless of any stat that I look at, that's probably going to be the most important player, in my opinion, in this game.
Mm-hmm.
And I said it at the beginning of the year. I think our second or third show, we were talking about women's college basketball. Cardoso is going to be the key in this game. She's the center for South Carolina. Right now, she's averaging 13.1 points. She's shooting 60% from the floor. She averages 2.9 blocks, 10, almost 11 rebounds. Now, here's the stat that's interesting. Almost 8 of those are defensive rebounds. Almost 4 of those are offensive rebounds. Why am I bringing up Cardoso? Because if Cardoso can either, and I will say this, match or even outplay Angel Reese on the block, this game could get real ugly. And I've said from day one, I want to see a good game. I think the LSU is going to come. They're going to show up. They're going to play. They're at home.
I don't know that Angel had a whole lot of success with Cardoso the last time.
Mm-hmm.
And let's just set the table. Let's set the table, right? Because LSU's the defending champs.
Mm-hmm.
We coming down to their house.
Mm-hmm.
We coming down to Baton Rouge, Red Stick.
That's right? If I go get a lesson on that, it's not
Baton Rouge. Baton Rouge. Okay, Red Stick. We coming down there January 25th. 8 p.m. We're gonna tip it off down there, and we're gonna be live for the game. Remember, we will be live for this game 1 week from tonight. 1 week from today.
Can't wait. 1 week
from today. So we're gonna talk about LSU versus South Carolina this week and next week leading into this game. I mean, it's a big deal. College game day is coming to town. College game day is coming to town. ESPN is gonna be in the building. Baton Rouge is gonna be rocking. And we're gonna find out. We're gonna throw this ball up, and at the end of the night, everybody somebody gonna have a win.
Yeah.
Somebody gonna have a loss.
When we get there, we're gonna start being live on site at some of these games. Okay. When we get there, we're gonna be live on site at some of these games. Trust me. Yeah. We're gonna get there.
Absolutely. We work into that. But you're gonna have Carolyn Peck in the building, you're gonna have Rebecca Lobo in the building, Holly Rose gonna be in the building, the whole team. So I'm just saying that energy is going to be there. All of the teams are going to want to do well. I think Nikki Fargas, former LSU coach, just referred to the starting 5 at LSU as the Fabulous 5.
Really?
And no disrespect, if they are the Fabulous 5, then what the hell do you call the South Carolina starting 5 a problem? I don't know. Yeah, and Fab 5.
That's a good one. We need to pose that to our subscribers. What's the name? What's a good name for the South Carolina
LSU
starting 5?
Starting 5 is the Fabulous 5, and I have no problem with that. Even though coming out of Michigan and home with the Fab 5, it's like we've seen that already before. But
that's
right. They're not the Fab 5; they're the Fabulous 5. So
why couldn't they say fantastic or something? Why would they have to say Fab? Fab is taken.
But fabulous is kind of feminine. I like it, Fabulous 5. Okay, it says swag. But if LSU's team, and that's fine, if they are the Fabulous 5, what are we gonna call the South Carolina starting 5?
I don't know. That's a tough one.
Them? Let's think about that.
They got to be something like the unit. It's just the unit coming to a court near you.
Just a problem. I mean, pick your poison. Pick your poison 5. I don't know. I don't know. And I know LSU is coming off that loss, right? They're coming off that loss. I think it was one of the worst in the Moki era, right? And LSU is supposed to be I'm not gonna say supposed to be. They are like the number 1 scoring offense.
They are
in women's college basketball right now.
Correct.
But they were missing shots inside, outside, at the free throw line. Even though Angel Reese and Anissa Morrow both had double doubles. I think Reese had like 24 and 11. Morrow was 12 and 15. But Flau'jae, Michaela, and HVL, they had 22 points and 0 threes.
Mm-hmm.
You can't show up at your own crib like that next Thursday and expect to come out with a win.
No.
So I'm and then they only had like 4 points off the bench.
Right.
They only go 7 deep as it is.
Now you know what's interesting about this? I looked up a couple.
Maybe
I looked up a couple articles, and it listed the strength of LSU as being depth.
What, this year?
Yeah, I thought that was interesting. Now I'm looking here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Well,
8. They're about
okay. I take that back.
Maybe 8.5.
They would have been deep. You got to remember, you got Samaya Smith is out.
That's right.
And then Kateri Poole is gone.
Right.
So and even though Kim Mulkey probably wouldn't admit it, she misses Kateri Poole right now. She's going to miss her going into March. I don't know.
That's a whole nother. I can't wait till somebody going to have one of them, what do you call it, where they say, when I play for with the dark screen, when I play for the team. I can't wait for the truth about that.
Because I'm not saying that that Smith would have started over. I think that Morrow would have grew into a starter, right? So then you got Smith and Poole kind of securing a bench and bringing that depth and that experience off the bench to kind of lead that second team. They've been going 7 deep.
Nobody turns down a ball handler and a floor general when you're on a team that's striving to win a championship. It's a baffling situation. It's really baffling to me. And again, I hope everybody's okay or whatever through that situation, mentally, physically, whatever the case may be. I wish nothing but the best for that young lady who moved on, but the truth has to come out eventually on that. Here's an interesting one, Cess, and I know you know the answer, but I'm just posing it more so for the audience.
Let me throw this out there really quick, Coach.
Go ahead.
And I hope I'm saying her name right, but I believe her name is India Rogers. She is a senior guard, 5'7", out of Oregon, out of Texas. And I think she was in the transfer portal, if I'm not mistaken. And I was checking her stats out and looking at some of her highlights. And I think at some point they had maybe thought that she would have ended up at LSU. And just looking at what she's bringing to Oregon, I think she'd have been a perfect fit.
India Rogers, I need to look her up.
Yeah, she's number 4 with the Oregon Ducks. So I want to throw that out there. Yeah, check her out. But you were saying something, Coach.
No, I'm just gonna say, I know you probably know the answer to this, but if I pose to the audience, behind Angel Reese, who do you think is the leading scorer at LSU?
I don't know, so I'm gonna play the game with the audience too. Behind Angel, who's
Morrow,
leading scorer?
Morrow at 18.3 a game.
Morrow, I'm surprised.
By Michaela Williams at 16. Me too. Which again, in the losses.
Well, maybe because they're banging it into their bigs.
We're having their bigs at the top of the key toward the end.
Like I said, I felt like there was a point in the game that I saw where Flau'jae was like, "Hey, you got to give me the ball."
Exactly.
I agree. And let her do her thing. And I mean, I got a chance to go back and watch just like the Flau'jae versus Malaysia game on YouTube, and Flau'jae is a beast. I don't know why they keeping her under wraps. I don't know if I don't know if they just haven't found the right rhythm to get her in. But I think that both her and Michaela can average double doubles as well. So
here's something that stood out to me: South Carolina, they're holding their opponents to an average of 51 points a game. They're holding their opponents to an average of 29% shooting. 29%. They're forcing 17 turnovers a game. They're holding. Here's the one that's their opponent's 3-point percentage is 26%. That is going to be huge because if again, no disrespect to Auburn, but I think South Carolina is going to do an even better job of taking the 3-pointer away. What is LSU going to do to adjust to that? Will be the question. Are you going to do some high lows? Are you going to do some pick and pop? They have to find a way to get Van Leaf open. And I think like some more dribble handoffs, even a version of what we would call the three person weave, whatever you want to call that. They have to do something different to free Van Leaf up, or even if it's what do you call it, where you have all of the activity on the left side of the block as if you're setting up Angel Reese and you swing that ball around the Van Leaf. You have to get creative to get your shooters open against South Carolina. Now,
I just realized that HVL is a converted shooting guard to point. She's not a true point. She's a shooting guard.
Yes.
Right. And so
yeah,
it just seems like the learning curve, is taking a little bit longer than they expected, or maybe, she's not convertible. Maybe we're gonna have to think about that.
That makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense because when they would run that second defender or that very ball pressure, Van Leaf looked very out of sorts. And if you have that person at the top of your defense, this takes everything away from your offense. It's not like with South Carolina, they can dip it off to the other guard. Everybody but the center on South Carolina can handle the ball and get to the rim. Here's something interesting about LSU's opponents. Now, here's where you get a little nervous for South Carolina. They forced 23 turnovers on average. 23 turnovers. And one of the weaknesses of Gamecocks is, wait for it, turnovers.
Yeah. The turnovers have been a problem, but turnovers have been a problem for everybody. Turnovers, free throws, fouls.
They're two of the worst free throw shooting teams too, even in the SEC. Both LSU and South Carolina. Well, no, I'm sorry. Yeah, that's right. Well, their opponents are being held to 65% shooting, but I don't know why they would have that other stat. But LSU, they're holding their opponents' 3-point percentage to 29%. When you look at this on paper, it's a real, now let's look at some advantages. South Carolina is plus 38 points. They're plus 22% field goal percentage over their opponents, plus 17% 3-point field goal attempts. They're plus in just about every category. LSU is plus 30 points, plus 12% field goal percentage. This is interesting. Both are plus 15 rebounds over their opponent. That's why I say, like you said, you make a good point. Did Angel Reese dominate Cardoso? By no means. Arguably, well, I'll say it, Cardoso outplayed Angel Reese when the lights came on.
Okay.
I think that's going to be key, though. I think Angel Reese probably heard from more than just join the conversation about that decision to be at the top of the key. I think Angel Reese may have heard about her, flexing on people and doing all of this stuff. And
I don't mind the flexing.
No, me either. No, I'm just saying when you hear it, things are spent.
I don't mind the flexing.
I'll say this. Hey, I don't like sometimes
Steph shimmy sometimes to take an L.
Right. And I don't like sometimes how the media will spin stuff on Angel Reese, making her the villain. I don't like that. She's a good player. She's able to show her emotions when she plays.
Spin what on?
Well,
what
the biggest
spin
one
on
was
her coach.
That was the biggest one. That's another conversation. Yeah, that was spent. That was spent around.
So I don't think it was spent around coach. I think the people that had something to say about it aren't real fans. Aren't real fans. They had an opportunity to attack women's sports or say, hey, look at them not being so ladylike or not being good sports and not understanding that, hey,
emotions run high in sports. Give them some latitude.
Not even just that emotions run high, but like women can have emotions about stuff too.
Yeah, they get competitive
they
too.
get caught up in sports too.
Well, as I said before, I really, don't like the separation. I know for statistic wise, you'll say women's basketball, this, that. I get that, but I don't like even when you're having conversations about greatest players and stuff like that, or milestones and things like that. I want to hear more of the women players being mentioned in some of these conversations. And stop saying that it's like, oh, they could never play against them. I'm not trying to hear that. We're talking about stats. We're talking about legacy. We're talking about history. So I'm going to make audience. I'm going to challenge you. I'm going to make a more solid effort when I'm talking about who's good and who's great or who's doing things. I'm going to start mentioning WNBA players. I'm going to start mentioning women's college basketball players because they're all ballers at the end of the day. That's what I'm going to say about that. So.
And I want to say something else about Haley Van Lit. I'm sorry if I'm HVL, if I'm pronouncing it wrong. But I just want to remember because, HVL is from Louisville. She was at Louisville. She took Louisville to a Final Four in 2022. And she averaged 19.7 points a game, right? And she was the leader of that team, taking them into the Final Four in 2022. So I'm just trying to understand where has that game gone? Is that game gone because of the transition to the point guard? Is that game gone because she's not fitting in very well in Louisiana? It's real different to go from and people might think the South is the South. I really call Louisville, Kentucky like South Midwest versus the deep South of the United States. But to go from Kentucky to Louisiana could be a culture shock. I don't know. So I
think it's what you said.
Let's see what's going on.
I think it's what you said. If you're going from being a primary, that means, let's just say, and correct me if I'm wrong, Cess, you're getting 15 or more looks a game because you're the star. They're running plays for you. They're, and if you were a shooting guard, it looks way different running to get to your spot, catch and shoot, than now handling the ball, making sure the offense is correct. Oh, and by the way, if I'm open, I'm going to shoot. I have not seen the ability of HVL to drive to the rim and score on formidable opposition. I have not seen that.
She's a shooting guard.
Right, but I'm just saying, like, you have to ask, what do we always talk about, Seth? You always talk about this. The first thing you say every season, have you worked on your game? Have you worked on your game? Last year, you had to understand that at this point, I need to work on something on my game to bring to this team.
No. Hold on. I'm not gonna let you do that. Listen, she led her team to the Final Four. So
as a shooting guard.
Okay, but there's a difference between work on my game and change my game.
Okay, I give you that.
That's different.
That's fair.
Work on my game means I'm fine tuning a few things here and there.
That's fair.
Changing my game, going from being Klay Thompson, a spot up shooter, to Steph Curry, bringing the ball up and moving and grooving with the ball.
Bring out them Warriors.
Hey, listen. It's at the top of my mind all the time. I couldn't think of the two Pistons that would do that.
Watch
do those
it
things.
now.
I will name them. Okay, anyway, right. I want to say this, because everybody is so quick to count South Carolina out as if we aren't ranked number one in the nation.
I agree.
And hats off to Auburn for what they did, but I don't think that Auburn has nearly the roster that South Carolina is bringing to LSU, right? And so the fact that I think Auburn won off sheer just will to win and wanted to beat LSU's ass, they're the defending champs and we want a piece of that. We might not get to say anything else about the rest of this year. This might have been their NCAA championship right then. To be able to say that, hey, we took a chip off that crown. That's all right for Auburn. So I feel like South Carolina is going to come in with that same eagerness plus a depth. And a defense.
Great point.
A defense that Auburn didn't necessarily have.
Great point. I'm going to tune in to the SEC tournament. I normally don't watch a lot of tournaments before
you
Madness.
Tuning in for what?
I want to see You can see some potential rematches. It would be very interesting to see LSU play Auburn again in the SEC tournament. I'm also going to tune in to the women's Big Ten tournament because there's some potential rematches that may happen there. You got Indiana floating around. You got State. Some of those teams are going to be jockeying for seeds, and it's going to be interesting to see. I'm going to watch those tournaments because I want to see. I'm interested to see some of these teams that are kind of like, I'll call them mid-level, meaning like not necessarily ranked. Maybe they're ranked a couple weeks, mid to low 20s. They got some signature wins, and then they're kind of floating around. When these tournaments start, I'm interested in seeing that. Will we see LSU and South Carolina in the SEC championship? We don't know. I'm just very interested in seeing how that plays out. I think that tournament is going to, I think the seeds are going to be pretty much set by then for the most part, but there could be some shake up there. So just, tune in. I'm going to watch those SEC for sure.
I'm interested to see if South Carolina is interested in going undefeated to the tournament again.
Man, you have to tell me more about that. What do you mean interested? Who wouldn't want to go undefeated for 2 years in a row?
Well, because you did it all, so I'm a Tom Brady fan. So I've been through an undefeated season and not getting the job done, right? I'm a Warrior fan, so I've been through a 73-win season and not getting the job done. Do we talk about those things? Hell no. Sometimes a team is due for a loss. Sometimes you hear, especially in football, I'm glad we went ahead and got the loss in now so that we get back focused. So I just wonder, having seen last year and having focused so much last year on going undefeated, right, and getting it done, and losing to Iowa, is that a focus, or are they okay to actually like drop a game?
I'm looking at it right now. I'm curious about that. How many do we have that's done that? I wanted to say Gino may have done it.
Done what?
I'm trying to see if anybody can win consecutive undefeated regular season and then won a championship. Has anybody ever done that? And I'm only asking that because would that play into
check Pat Summitt's record?
Yeah, I'm looking.
I don't know if she went back to back. For some reason, I think she had multiple undefeated seasons, but I could be wrong. But for some reason, I think either Candace or Shamika or both went undefeated with the Lady Vols. But that's one of the things I'm wondering. Is it go undefeated? Are you thinking about undefeated? Did you learn that lesson last time and it's just one game at a time and you're on your Bill Belichick and we're on the Texas A&M? Mm-hmm. And then we're on the LSU. LSU is going to have a game against, I think, Alabama. Is that right? Before they see South Carolina, and South Carolina going to play Texas A&M?
And no disrespect to Alabama, I kind of feel for Alabama. I think that LSU is they're gonna really beat up on them.
I want to make sure that both teams are focused, and I'm hoping that this isn't a trap game for both.
I think it's more of a trap game for South Carolina than LSU. And let me explain, audience, what I say about trap, because again, I hate to be misquoted. I'm saying trap as giving them a tougher game than they should have. Do I think that South Carolina's going to lose? No.
I'm saying trap like
right.
You're overlooking Texas A&M, thinking about LSU,
right?
And you don't show up with your best performance,
or somebody get hurt. Somebody, you know what I'm saying? That's what I'm talking about as far as trap game. Emotions get high. Somebody gets injured. Some chemistry's thrown off. Somebody gets put in the doghouse, by one of the coaches. That's what we mean by trap game. Something that could happen that could impact the game when they play each other. And I know both coaches would love to have absolute blowouts in the first half so they can sit their starters for the second half. That's more than likely the goal of both coaches. They would love to. Well, for South Carolina's business as usual, like I said, if you're having a gathering or anything like that. It's a great idea to have South Carolina maybe with some surround sound, couple of televisions. You can mute one of them because after the first half,
Keep saying it.
You can entertain everybody. I mean, we're you have a good time, but you can have a good time because those games are pretty much over by halftime. So
you see, she went 39-0 in 98.
Yeah, I see. It says that UConn has the most consecutive 111 wins.
Oh yeah, Gino was on a tear
2014 to 2017. But
Gino
I'm trying to find out
for a minute.
But did they win the championship those years?
Quiet as it's kept, Gino snuck back into the top 10. So you
said something last show that I thought about, and I need to take a deeper dive. You said UConn's real quiet, and you're right. They've been quiet. I haven't heard a lot of
quiet, but they're in the top 10.
That's what I'm saying. But it's gonna be kind of scary.
It's gonna be some spoilers to the dance. It's gonna be, maybe a Cinderella, maybe not.
But I looked at a few of the Big East. They're not really playing a whole lot of folks, but that's not their fault. They playing the teams that's put in front of them. Couple showdowns that I circle with them. But we'll see. We'll get there.
So let's talk a little bit of South Carolina. Coming on the road. We coming out of Texas. You had to win the last time.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be rocking in Baton Rouge. It's gonna be rocking. It's gonna be rocking. It's gonna be hostile. We taking a younger team in, so definitely some opportunities for growth, some opportunities to learn some lessons, some opportunities to prove some points.
Texas A&M, interestingly, on this same power ranking grid that I pulled up as far as what they hold their opponents to, they're almost even across the board with South Carolina. Now, they're holding their opponents.
Texas A&M ain't gonna be no cakewalk.
Yeah, they're holding their opponents to 24% shooting.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They're forcing 17 turnovers. They actually average more. They're actually holding their opponents to less offensive rebounds too.
Listen,
interesting. Let's see some differentials here.
Listen, this is what I want you to understand about Texas. Texas A&M beat Auburn by 22. Yeah. Okay, so ranked or unranked, these are some talented teams, and just in women's college basketball, period. And on any given day, any team can lose, and LSU beat Texas A&M by 17. Mm-hmm. It looks like not to just recently, and then they had and then Texas A&M beat Tennessee. And then on Sunday, they'll get down against South Carolina. So, look like they having an up and down season. Mm-hmm. But they torched Tennessee. I ain't 71-56. Listen. They may be getting hot right at the right time. I think they're 2-2 in the SEC. But they are unbeaten at home. So, two tough games coming up for South Carolina. I don't think either are cakewalks. Respected the
only because it's back to back. Right, it's back to back. That's to put of that gauntlet that we talk about as far as
no, nothing about back to back. What do you mean by back to back?
I think there's something to playing different teams that are tougher than others back to back. That's what I was talking about earlier. One of our earlier shows about Colorado. I think you're going to put some respect on Colorado's name come tournament. They're playing tough teams back to back. If not, maybe a week off, and no disrespect to the teams that they're playing in between.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Colorado is ranked what, number 3 in the nation?
Mm-hmm.
How much more respect would you put on their name?
No. I'm just talking about when tournament starts. When we were having our show about tournament, Colorado never came up. Even in our chat, in our private, and not private, in our public chat, nobody mentioned Colorado. That's why I mentioned it.
Well, I don't talk Colorado because I haven't really seen Colorado play. I've
Mm-hmm.
just been keeping an eye on them.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I haven't followed Colorado hoops. I was surprised, as I've told you guys, I didn't watch a whole lot of college hoops, so I was surprised that they were even appearing as a powerhouse. I didn't know much about them.
Mm-hmm.
So they definitely are on my radar, and I'm going to be looking at their schedule to make sure that I get a couple games in before the tourney. But listen, they're going to be a problem. They're number 3 in the nation for a reason.
That's right.
So I don't know how much more respect we could put on their name unless you're saying that they should be number 2 in the nation.
I was more so referring to in the tournament. I can't wait till the season start or get put up because I love to see what side they're going to be on. If they're not a number 1 seed, they'll have to be a number 2, and where would they be? That's always fascinates me, the bracketology. But on this matchup though for next week, okay, what would you say, Cess, is the strategy, coach for coach? Staley, Mulkey. What's their overall strategy? Like, this is what I'm going to do to win this game. What would you say?
I don't know. I think Dawn is coming to try to run them out the gym.
Okay. So Pace running. What about Mulkey?
I think she's coming. Everybody's in shape. I think she's coming to just keep throwing bodies at them. She's coming to try to run them out the gym. Mulkey, I don't know. I think she's 7 deep, and she's not using the talent the way I would use it. So it's hard for me to say. To me, if I was Mulkey, I would be trying to see a lot more Michaela and a lot more Flau'jae. I'm not sure if I'm saying it right. Johnson, for sure.
I think
that would be me. Especially because I just like their defense. I think that if you say that Cardoso and Reese are going to cancel each other out, you got to tell me what your other six players are going to do against these other 9 that I'm going to run at you.
Great point.
And again, I keep telling y'all that my generational talent is coming off the bench because I'm still grooming her and bringing her along. So when Fuwiley comes into the game, it's a different speed, it's a different feel, and it's going to be against the weaker of your 7, I guess, versus the strongest of your 7. So
I think
we're gonna find out who's what. And I mean,
I think that Mulkey is going to have more ball screens than we've seen in any other game that they've played, because that's the only way to free up some of their main shooters. I think you're going to see a lot of high pick and pops, which they kind of got away from last year, in my personal opinion. You have to get creative and how you free up your shooters. And first and foremost, I know they're going to go. I'll expect Angel Reese to get at least 25 to 30 shots this game. They're going to try to wear the front line out.
You expect Angel Reese to get up 25 or 30 over Cardoso?
No, I'm talking about the goal. I think this is Mulkey's strategy to try to get up that many shots against that. I don't think she's going to make them all, but I think that's going to be the strategy to see if it works. Like,
to try to have Angel go for like 50.
Exactly.
I always for those type of game plans, if that's your game plan to let her go for 50, go for 50.
Right.
Nobody else will get anything. I'll shut everything else down.
I think you're going to put up
100.
I think you're going to see 100. I think you're going to see a lot of high give and go type of situations. So Angel flashes to the top, gets it, and you have Morrow, Van Leith, or Michaela kind of, doing that cross either up top or back door.
So are you saying Van Leith is going to have a better game, the same kind of game?
No,
or worse?
I think Van Leith is going to have, I don't think there's any way to do worse than she did, just because it's going to be a concerted effort to get her more shots. She can't be that bad again like she did with Auburn. I don't think, no. So the answer to that, no. but I don't think she's going to have a good game. I think the South Carolina's guards are going to give her some real problems. If anything, she'll get to the line. I think Moke will be working that sideline, barking about some fouls.
Is Ashlyn Watkins going to get a dunk down there in Louisiana?
Absolutely.
Is she going to get a dunk down
Absolutely.
there in Baton Rouge and Red
she'll get one.
Think so?
Absolutely. Oh, yeah. Talking about a crowd husher. Oh, wow. She going to get one. It's going to be early,
she'll
too.
be looking to get one.
So here's the thing. Okay, let me rephrase that. There could be a greater chance of her almost getting one, and she's getting a welcome from LSU, one of those fouls, which is going to fire South Carolina up, and at the same time fire up LSU. Like, you're not dunking here. You're not dunking in our house. Not a flagrant, not anything. I'm just saying.
I don't know. She gets out on the break like she did this last game. I think we could see one.
It's gonna be interesting.
I know we don't got much more time, Coach, but we do have to take a minute and just do a highlight.
Yes. Yeah.
Homegrown.
Mm-hmm.
Rickea Jackson out of Detroit Edison Public School Academy, 6'2", with the Mississippi State. Now, was she like a fifth-year senior?
Yeah.
At Tennessee, and has really been doing her thing, even though Tennessee just really isn't having that good of a season. It's just not too much that we can highlight so far. We hope that they get kind of on track, because I don't think, has Tennessee ever missed the tourney?
Ooh, good question. I have to look that up. That's a great question.
I don't know that they've ever missed the tourney.
I don't think they've ever missed it. I think they've been very low seed and got put out a few times early.
So as a senior at Tennessee, she's averaging right around 19.2 points per game, 6 rebounds, 1.5 assists almost, and she's playing about 28 minutes. And that was in her first season up there at Rocky Top. I think her points ranked 5th all time by a senior at Tennessee, and number 5 on the career scoring average as well. So she shot like about almost 55% from the floor, and almost 80 from free throw, and she ended up like number 3 in scoring, number 4 in field goal, number 5 in free throw, and number 15 in rebounding in the SEC last season.
She dropped 34 on Kentucky in the SEC tournament last year too. When they beat Kentucky in the SEC tournament, she had 34 points. That's pretty impressive.
The only Lady Vol with more consecutive 20-plus point performances in a row is, of course, 4-time All-American Shamiko Holtzclaw, who was the leader of that undefeated 98 team.
Talk to me nice about Shamiko Holtzclaw. She can do no wrong in my book, but this is about Rickea. Let's continue. Interesting to me, even though she was projected a first-round pick in the 2023 draft, she elected to come back for a 5th season. Kind of hitting your theory again about what is the mystique about these players that are going back to college instead of going to the WNBA. Rickea Jackson would have been an asset to a lot of teams in the WNBA last year.
Yeah, but you also, the one thing is kind of with that extra year is with the draft, where would I end up? Like, who's going to draft me? And then what would be the competition and the ability for me to get signed there? Maybe.
It'll be interesting. That could be more complex, but then you think about it. You come out last year, you don't have to deal with a Caitlin Clark or a couple of these other guards that's coming out. You probably would have got drafted higher.
Oh, you had Aaliyah Boston go in last year?
Yeah, but I'm talking about like from the guard play, from her position and need. There's a lot of teams in the WNBA, which we're going to cover on another segment, that are always looking for guards. But I'm about to say something way off key. Cess, it's related, though. Shouts out to Rickea Jackson's mama. Her mama, Karen Jackson, played for the Kansas Jayhawks. Pulled that out, huh?
Okay, give us the history.
She was an all-state basketball player at Murray Wright. She played at Kansas Jayhawks, and she won at Lansing CC, winning a national championship in 1996.
Mm-hmm.
She was Miss Basketball, and her daughter was a Miss Basketball 2019. But her mama was a baller, so she comes honest. I'm out here balling for the Kansas Jayhawks, Karen Jackson.
And of course, one of the reasons that we are highlighting Rickea is because she is she was born in Royal Oak, but we claim her here in Detroit. And just coming out of high school, she is number 5 overall player, number 2 wing. She is a 5-star prospect.
Yep.
Number 3 overall player, number 2 wing, 5-star prospect at Prospects Nation. She's a McDonald's All-American, a Jordan Brand Classic participant, Gatorade Michigan Player of the Year, Michigan Miss Basketball, as Coach Ro said, USA Today, All USA Second Team, Michigan Player of the Year, and All Michigan First Team, Class C State Tournament Player of the Year in 2017, 2018, and 2019. Departed as Detroit Edison's all-time leading scorer with over 1,700 points in her 4 seasons. She led Edison to 3 Michigan Class C state championships. She averaged 22 points, 6.5 rebounds, and 1.5 steals per game as a senior.
We might have to try to get her on the show. We might have to
her game just grew. I mean, she came in as a freshman, averaging 24 points and 8 rebounds.
Right.
So Rickea is a problem, and the record at Tennessee and where Tennessee stands right now is just not a reflection of this girl's game. So definitely want to take a few minutes and highlight her.
She was on the dean's list and honor roll her entire time through high school and continuing through college.
So a true student athlete. You never digress when you highlight the student part of being a student athlete, because that is important. But Detroit's own Rickea Jackson had to just take a few minutes to highlight her. Yep. Did you get a chance to see her play at all when she was here in high school, Coach?
I did not, I regret that.
So definitely will. It's so hard to find time for adding new things in, but definitely we'll be looking at trying to add in some opportunities to get out and see some of the high school ball games here in the metro, because there are a lot of good ball players right around this area. So
let's note Tennessee is 7-2 at home, so I need to look at their schedule to see who's going there. They seem to play pretty well at home.
7-2 at home.
2-2 away.
7-2 at home. Yes, Coach. This is true. But let's see.
They'll be one of those teams that's fighting for a spot in the tourney, I think, when it's all said and done. Another team to watch in the SEC.
You got Mississippi State coming in there. You got Vanderbilt coming, Ole Miss, Georgia, Missouri, Alabama, Arkansas, South Carolina going to come through there. Vanderbilt again, LSU.
Yeah, they like right there.
Yeah, and then they're going to finish the season off again, I think, at South Carolina. So, some tough games ahead.
What's keeping them afloat is that they're 3-1 in the SEC right now. So that could keep them afloat. I mean, but again,
and anything can happen in tournament play.
That's right.
The tournament play.
That's why we watch. That's why we watch.
Definitely an uphill battle for those young ladies right now. It looks like.
Can't wait. Ooh, this game is going to be heated next week. I cannot wait.
So, going into next week, we're going to be taking a look at the freshman phenoms.
Yes.
Of these two teams, South Carolina and LSU. So we'll be talking about Michaela a little bit more next week in Malaysia, and what we expect to see out of those ladies, and just some more X's and O's and hype before the game. I'm sure by next week, it'll be at a frenzy. The conversation around who's gonna win. Definitely gonna have my popcorn ready, and we're gonna be live. So Coach, if you don't have anything else, y'all know what it is.
I don't. Great day.
Until next time, y'all know what it is.
Time,
Stay
please
tuned.
holler at us in the chat. We do respond. We do our own thing.
Absolutely. Definitely engage. Hit that subscribe, hit the notification, share the videos, invite others to the conversation. You know what it is. And until next time, stay tuned. We'll talk soon.